Hello everyone. In this lecture, we are going to see an introduction about what are load flow studies and what is actually we are going to calculate. What are the parameters that we are going to calculate through load flow studies, and how the buses are classified. What is mean by a bus and all. Right. First of all, coming to load flow studies. So load flow studies is a term which can be alternately called as power flow studies also. So the same terminology can be used for both load flow studies or the power flow studies. Actually, what is a load flow solution? We are trying to find out a solution throughout the subject. What is a solution? So that solution is nothing but it is a solution of the network under steady state conditions subject to certain inequality constraints under which the system operates. That means the system is operating under some inequality constraints. What are those constraints? That constraints may be, we don't know, we might not be knowing what is the node voltage at each node of the bus, and what is the reactive power generation of each generator, what is the load angle at which the load is absorbing the reactive power or injecting the reactive power. So these all might be the constraints at which a particular system is working, right? So if we are able to find out a solution for such a network under steady state, that is called our load flow solution or power flow solution. That study is nothing but load flow study or power flow study. Okay. Now, this load flow solution gives the nodal voltages as discussed here. See, the nodal voltages and phase angles, and hence by knowing the nodal voltages and phase angles, we will be able to know what is the power injection at all the buses and power flow through the interconnecting channels. For example, if you need to clearly understand, so I have taken a bus here, right? 4 buses network, a system with 4 buses, right? What is a bus? A bus is nothing but interconnection of some systems, right? So here if you take a bus 1, so this is my bus 1. Here I have put a generator, right? This is my generator or alternator. Let me suppose it may be something which generates the electric power, right? So also SD is nothing but some load. D refers to demand, nothing but it refers to load. So this is my bus 1. Also at bus 2, if you see here, only I have specified a load SD. Also at node 4, I have specified only the load. Here at node 3, I have put a generator, right? So 1 and 3, I have put the generating stations, and at node 2 there is a demand, load demand, and at node 4 also there is a demand. For example, let me put a reactive power compensating device here, right? So shunt reactive power compensation device. So what is the need of putting shunt compensation? So shunt compensation, as we have studied in the power systems too, right? Putting a shunt compensation improves the voltage profile of a power system, right? So to improve, whenever there is a need in improvement of the voltage profile, we need a shunt compensation device. So whether this due to this shunt compensation or reactive power injection happens or reactive power compensation happens, that depends upon the remaining parameters of the power systems, right? So now if you see, now let us come back to this statement. So here in this statement, it is telling that the load flow solution gives the nodal voltages and phase angles. That means at each node, what is the voltage and what is the phase angle, and the power injection at all the buses. How much power is being injected at each and every bus, and what is the power flow through the interconnecting channels. These are the interconnecting channels that are nothing but the transmission lines, right? So what is the power flow that is happening between the 2 different nodes or 2 different buses. Bus is nothing but similar to node, right? So this solution, our load flow solution, is going to give answer to all these ones, That means it is going to find out all these parameters. So why is it essential? Why we need to go for load flow studies? So our next statement gives answer to this question. That is, it is essential for designing a new power system and for planning extension of the existing one. For increased load demand, suppose we are running a power system or a power generating station with certain load. Now we need to extend this station, right? So for increased load demand, if we have to extend our existing power system, then this load flow studies or power flow studies is essential for estimating what is the actual power flow happening in the power system, so that what are the extra parameters we need to add to this existing one, right? So this is nothing but a mathematical representation of a power system. Okay, now if you see that, if you observe the given 4 bus system which I have taken here, we can tell that it is consisting of generators, right? So generator, when you tell generator, how do we represent a generator? Nothing but generator or alternator. So we will be representing it by how much amount of active power it is able to generate, right? So that is what is amount of power P, right? At the same time, load, right? Loads, it consists of loads. Also it consists of compensating elements, right? So what is the amount of active and reactive power specified by this generator or alternator? At the same time, when we talk about load, what is the voltage generator? What is the voltage generated at the voltage at this load? Also, what is the amount of power it is consuming? So loads can be specified with the help of these 2 parameters, and the generator or the alternator can be specified with the help of these 2 parameters, right? So now based upon this, let us classify the buses, right? Let us classify the buses. So coming to bus classification, generally in a power system, each bus or node is associated with 4 quantities, that is real and reactive powers, bus voltage magnitude and its phase angle. See, real and reactive power, bus voltage magnitude, that is magnitude of V, and its phase angle delta. So these 4 parameters need to be specified at each node or bus. Now in load flow solution, out of these 4 parameters, any 2 quantities will be specified and the remaining are to be obtained through the solution of certain load flow equations. So based upon what are the parameters specified and what are the parameters that are to be found out or to be calculated, buses are classified into these 3 categories. Now let us come to the first bus, that is load bus. So load bus, that means at a load bus it is, see, P and D, what is the real and reactive power at this bus, that will be specified, and what is the voltage magnitude and delta, these are to be calculated. However, this voltage must be within the certain limits specified by the loads, or otherwise the system will lose its synchronism. So it must be varying within plus or minus 5% of the voltage limits, right? So load bus, what will be the parameters given? P and Q parameters will be specified. D corresponds to demand, right? Load, that means demand. P and Q will be specified and voltage magnitude and delta are to be calculated. So coming to generator bus or voltage controlled bus, generator bus, or it is also called as voltage controlled bus. So when you talk about generator bus, so it is also called as what? PV bus. So coming to voltage magnitude corresponding to the generation voltage, and how, that means how much voltage that generator is able to generate, and real power PG is nothing but generated power corresponding to its ratings are specified. So given generator or alternator will be having some ratings, right? That means this is the rating, power rating of this machine. So that power rating, real power corresponding to its rating, that will be specified. And what are the remaining parameters? When P and V are given, remaining parameters are what? Reactive power and delta are to be calculated. This is about generator bus or voltage controlled bus or PV bus. So the third bus is slack or swing or reference bus. So what is this slack or swing or reference bus? Generally the power system will be having only these two buses practically, but see, as the power losses in the system are not known prior to the load flow calculations, so we cannot estimate what is the loss happening in that. So what is the power loss undergoing in the system? So that will be calculated only after all the calculations are done, right? One of the generator bus is taken as slack or swing bus to take additional real and reactive power to supply transmission losses. Here what is done is, one of the generator bus will be assumed that this will be supplying the real and reactive power loss in the transmission system. It will be assumed like that, and that bus will be taken as a reference or slack bus or swing bus. So that means here in slack or swing bus, voltage and delta are specified and P and Q are calculated. So we already told that to supply additional real and reactive power for the transmission losses, one bus is selected. That is, the selected bus is what? One thing is generator bus. So load buses should not be taken as reference buses. Generator buses should be taken as reference buses, right? So magnitude of V and delta are specified here, and real and reactive powers will be calculated. Generally for reference bus, delta is taken as 0. Therefore, it is called as reference bus, right? So it is called also as a slack bus or swing bus. Why? Because its value will be swinging according to the solution of our load flow equation, right? It is not constant. So we'll be seeing for each and every iterative there are few iterative methods. So after each step we'll be having some value. This swing slack or bus will be replacing that value at each step, so that it comes as a swing bus. Its value is not fixed, so it is taken as slack or swing or reference bus. Now, so all of these bus classifications I have summarized here in a table. See, load bus, quantity specified will be P and Q, quantities obtained will be magnitude of V and delta. At the same time, for the generator bus, quantity specified will be P and magnitude of V, and quantities obtained will be what? Reactive power Q and the load angle delta. So coming to the slack bus or swing bus or reference bus, magnitude quantity specified will be magnitude of V as well as delta, and quantities to be obtained will be P and Q. So this is about the bus classification in a power system, right? So in the next lecture we'll be studying about how to write nodal admittance matrix, why we go for admittance matrix, so how it helps us in writing the load flow equations and so on, right? Hope you have understood till now. Thank you.